guys, it's Aoife from FradBC Died Laughing, and I am here with another weekly wrap up. So I had a pretty busy week this week. I went to a few different things. Obviously some of you guys know that last Sunday I met up with Katie from Katie Loves to Read and Leanne from Leanne Rose, and we went on a book shopping trip, which I will do a book haul for that very soon. And then on Monday I went to a book launch for books I'm going to talk about in a minute. And then yesterday I went to a YouTubers Creators Day in Dublin in the Google offices, and it was just basically a whole day with other Irish YouTubers and learning how to kind of maximize your channel and, you know, I don't know, just engaging with your audience and building your channel and stuff like that. And it was pretty interesting and it was a pretty fun day, but I'm feeling a little bit tired today, I think, just from the week of work and then the few different things that I was doing. And then I had different things in work and with friends and stuff as well during the week. So yeah, it's been a busy week and I am glad to kind of settle down in my pyjamas today and watch some Gilmore Girls. So yes. So the first few books that I did finish this week I talked briefly about last week, and it was A Hollow in the Hills by Ruth Frances Long, and then the third book in the Dublin series, which is A Darkness at the End, also by Ruth Frances Long. And it was the book launch for A Darkness at the End that I went to on Monday, and I got to meet Ruth and she spoke about the books and it was really, really interesting. I'm not going to talk too much about these books because I'm going to do a whole series review, so there's no point in saying everything now, but I will say that I really enjoyed the conclusion to the series. It's lovely and dark and twisty and has just all these different things that you don't really expect coming, and it's not light and fairy and airy and stuff like that. It's very intense at times and it really kind of kept me on my toes, and I gave both of these books a 5 out of 5 stars because I really loved them, and I will talk about the whole series very soon, hopefully in a video coming at the end of this week. The next book that I finished was actually an audiobook that I've been listening to for the past couple of weeks, and this is Artichoke Horse by Sita Bramachari, and it was narrated by a woman called Tanya Rodriguez. And first of all, I will say that even just for the narration I would give this book a 5 out of 5 stars. I really, really enjoyed it. This is basically about a girl called Mira Levinson. She's kind of half Indian, half Jewish, I think she said at one point, but there's definitely half of her family would be from India. And she's just turned 12 and she's just kind of going through a lot of changes in her life. She's started this writing class, she's gotten her first crush, her grandmother is dying, and she's kind of trying to deal with all these different changes that are going on, and she's kind of just talking in the book like almost like writing a diary, I guess. It was just really, really good and it was just really nice, and I just felt like it was very, very genuine. It was a very, very genuine voice for a teenager or for someone who's just coming into their teen years. She was dealing with everything that so many other people have had to deal with, like getting her first crush and her crush texting her and wondering how many kisses she could put at the end of the text and getting excited when he puts extra kisses on the ends of his text. And it was just like really, really sweet and really cute. And there was a big section of this dedicated to when she got her period for the first time. And I really, really enjoyed that because you don't see that a lot in YA books in general, or in some other like books for, you know, 12-13-year-olds, where this girl is talking about her period and all the different things that she's feeling about it, and just, you know, the aches and pains and the hassle of, you know, being in school with your period and having to like run into the bathroom between each classes just to check you like that everything's okay and that you're not leaking and stuff like that. And it was just so truthful and it was so honest, and I really, really enjoyed that because that is so relatable as someone who obviously has gone through all of that. When I was 13, I was in school, I was freaking out during school, like, and I think a lot of other people would be the exact same way. So that was just really cute and it was really nice to see. And as I said, the narration was just really, really good. I felt like all the voices were done really well, particularly for the grandmother. The narrator dropped her voice a bit and made it very gravelly. So first of all, she was getting the age of the grandmother correct, and then also the grandmother was sick, so you're kind of hearing all that through her voice. And you kind of have the hopeful optimism, excitedness of Mira's voice as a 12/13-year-old, and it was just really, really enjoyable. I just really, really liked this, and I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. I read a short kind of middle grade book called The Golden Sword by Rosie Morgan this week, and this is kind of like a King Arthur retelling, and it's basically about this kid called Arthur, and all these strange things start happening to him one of these days, and there's like weird characters showing up, there's loads of cats around, he's kind of drawn to this particular hill in the countryside near his home, and all these weird things are happening, and it seems to be centred around the legend of King Arthur, and his friends are kind of involved, and it seems like his family are involved a little bit, and he's just trying to figure out what the hell is going on basically. I did enjoy this, but I felt like it kind of took a while to really take off, and then as it took off it ended a little bit. I felt like it just took too long a little to take off and to get the story rolling, and for really everything to click into place and for the characters to kind of start clicking into place. And then even at the end, I'm not sure if everything was really explained really well. I mean, I feel like everything was pretty obvious to the reader what was happening because we know it's a King Arthur retelling, but there was no point kind of turned around where everything was kind of explained start to finish, and I think I just would have liked that just for a little bit of clarification. There was a bit in this though where like this strange man is appearing, and obviously he's the villain and he's after Arthur a little bit, and Arthur's seen him and Arthur is very scared. And there is a point where he goes home to his mum and dad and he tells his mum and dad what is happening. He tells his mum and dad that there's this strange man that keeps showing up, that he's really scared, he doesn't know what to do, and the mum and dad take him seriously. And I thought that was really, really good for a middle grade book, and because you don't see it in middle grade a lot and you don't see it in YA a lot, where the kids actually turn around. You don't even see it in adult books actually, where someone turns around to someone else and actually tells them what's going on when it could be a dangerous situation. And Arthur did that, and the police got involved and stuff like that, and I was just like, yes, like that is just so refreshing to see. So I really appreciated that, and I just appreciate that honesty, and I thought that was a good message as well, obviously for any younger children reading the book. Overall I gave this a 3 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read as a buddy read with Becca over at Bookworm Becca, and it was Asking for It by Louise O'Neill. And first of all, I'm just so happy that I finally read this because I've been meaning to read it for ages. This is about a young girl. She's 18 years old and she's living in a small country town in Ireland, and her name is Emma O'Donovan, and she basically goes out one night. Emma's a very popular, pretty girl in her school, but she's not really the nicest girl either. But one night she goes out, she gets very drunk, she takes some drugs, but she ends up getting gang raped, and the pictures are put up on the internet and everyone basically sees them. And it's basically the fallout of that. Emma, you know, figuring out what is going on with her. She can't even remember anything, and suddenly she's seeing these pictures and she's feeling utterly violated. And you know, it's the fallout of that, the fallout of the rape case, how rape cases are treated in Ireland, how victim blaming is a very, very huge thing. Just how she was treated, how her family were treated afterwards in this small town where, you know, the local sports stars are the heroes and stuff like that, and how people are so inclined to believe them over the girl whose pictures were put all over the internet when she was in a very bad state. And I really, really enjoyed this. I'm not going to talk about this too much except to say that it was really powerful. I really enjoyed it. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars because the more I think about this, the more I want to do a separate review on it, and I'll hopefully get that out next week because I'm going to have the Dublin series review out this week, so I'll put this one out the next week. So please look out for that because I've just so much to say about this book because it was so good, and I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. And the next book I read was a library book, and that was The Finding of Martha Lost by Caroline Wallace, and this was just a kind of cute, whimsical kind of read. It is about a girl called Martha Lost, and basically when she was a baby she was left at the Lost Property Station in the Lime Street train station in Liverpool. And it's 16 years later and Martha is still there, and she's still trying to figure out what happened to her as a baby, who her birth parents are, who her mother was, why she was left at the train station. And she works in the Lost Property Office now, and she has this kind of like magical realism. There's a little bit of magical realism incorporated into this book, and she has this kind of power where she can sometimes touch a lost object that's handed in to her at the Lost Property office, and she can kind of see where the item's story, I guess, who bought them, how they came about being lost and stuff like that. But this was a really sweet book. It was kind of like this girl who's very innocent. She doesn't really know much of the outside world. She's basically spent her entire life in this train station. It's set in 1976, I should say, as well, or 1986 maybe. I think 76. So it's obviously a different kind of era as well from today. But she spent her whole life in this station, so she doesn't really know how to interact with everyone the same way, I guess, as other people would. So she has this very innocent, airy-fairy feel to her. And that was very, like, she's almost like childlike in a way, but at the same time she was mature enough for her age, but just not mature in kind of a streetwise sense, I guess. I really liked how she was able to she's one of these characters that brings other characters together and draws other characters out of their shell, and she kind of creates this little group around her of all these weird and wonderful people, and I really enjoyed that. It was really nice. I gave this a 4 stars in the end, because, or 3.75 stars, I guess, which is particularly specific, I guess. But there was just this relationship that happened at the second half of this book which I really didn't like. It was a little bit abusive, it was a little bit manipulative, and I just wasn't really keen on how it was treated. I felt like people could see what was going on and they didn't really do anything to help, and I feel like they should have done things to help. And yeah, and I feel like the end of it was really obvious as well. Like, it was so obvious throughout the whole book what was going to happen at the end. But I did like it, and I think if people are from Liverpool, or if they know Liverpool really well, they would probably like this book as well, because it just has these kind of different little just little tidbits, I guess, of information and name dropping of different places and stuff like that. And the very last book that I finished this week was All Heart by Mara Dabrishus. A few months ago, I think it was in April or May, I reviewed Stay the Distance by Mara Dabrishus, and this was a book about a girl called July Carter, and basically her life as a kind of working in this racing stables where her dad was a trainer, and just her life in the stables and having some relationship problems and dealing with the horses and falling in love with horses she couldn't keep and stuff like that. And just a really great horsey read, which I gave 5 stars. So this is the sequel to that, and it's called All Heart, as I said, and just follows on with July, with her horse, with her boyfriend, and just different things that she's going through. This one didn't quite have the same kind of grip on me as Stay the Distance did, but I think it's just because I'm not really sure why. I think it's just because I wasn't expecting to love Stay the Distance that much, and I fell in love with it. And then this one was a little bit of a different story. But I feel like this one is very relatable as well, because July is going through so many different things. She's a lot of things to think about. She's kind of in this moment in her life where she's not quite sure where she's going to go next. She's 18 years old, I think she's 18, or 19 years old, and she's trying to figure out whether she should go to college in NYU with her best friend, which is kind of what they'd always planned, but now she's not sure if, you know, life in the, like, going to college in a big city like that is really what she wants to do, when obviously her big love is horses. She doesn't know whether just to stay in the stables and not get a college education at all. And then she also has this option to be going to a college nearby, which is kind of a horse college, and she has to figure out basically what she wants. I feel like this is a crossroads that a lot of people would find them in at that age, and I just thought July's kind of reasonings about it and figuring all it out and her stalling and stuff like that was very relatable, because so many people have gone through it and will go through it. And yeah, it was just very enjoyable to read. I wasn't as mad about the relationship in this one as much, because I felt like it wasn't, I don't know, I don't think it was shown as much as it was in the last one, but the last one we kind of had all the flirty bits and the building up of this, where in this one it kind of stalled a little bit, and I was just like, oh no, like, I want you guys to be happy and I want you guys to be together and stuff like that. So I was just really rooting for them for the whole book, but there wasn't quite enough time between them that I wanted between July and her boyfriend, because I just really love them and I just want loads of scenes of them together and being happy in it, because they're just so cute. So there wasn't quite enough of that for me, but that's just me being, you know, panicky about those things. I do feel like July is definitely a character who learns from her mistakes, both in the horse world and then with her just normal personal life. Like, she'll do something will go wrong, and she'll be like, right, well, I won't do that again, or I will learn from this mistake. And there's so many characters that never do that, and they just continue to do things, and, you know, people are telling them not to do things or giving them advice. And I don't think July is like that. She kind of listens to people. She does go by her own instinct as well, but she knows when she shouldn't be doing things, or she knows how to say sorry, and she knows how to admit to her own mistakes. I think that's a very admirable trait in a character. So yes, I did really enjoy this, and I really enjoyed how it ended, and I can't wait for another book, which should hopefully be coming out next year. And I should say as well that I actually got a free copy of this on my Kindle from Mara herself, who contacted me and asked me if I wanted to review it. So this isn't out until the very end of September, so I got it a little bit early, but a big thank you to Mara for that. So at the moment I am reading a book called All We Shall Know by Donal Ryan, who is an Irish author, and it's a book set in Ireland. And I'm about 60% through this at the moment, but I'll hopefully finish it tonight, because it's been a fast enough read so far, and I am enjoying it a lot so far, and I will talk about it more next week. So please let me know all the things you've read. If you have any thoughts about the books I have read, please leave me some comments. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you like my channel, or even recommend my channel to someone else, because that would be fantastic. And I will see you guys again next time.